Okay, we're going to start the pink distance formula sheet, making sure you remember this. You might have done this in Algebra 1. The formula for distance, as we discovered in class, is the square root x1 minus x2 squared. And remember, we talked about how they don't have to be in that order because we'll be squaring them. It won't matter. Plus y1 minus y2 squared. One formula, plug and chug. So if I look at number 4, I have, sliding off here, an x, a y, an x, and a y. I'm going to substitute those straight in to the formula. Negative 6 minus negative 7, because these are my x's, squared, plus, and my y's are 6 minus negative 4 is the other y, squared. If I put that straight in on my calculator, I'm going to have you see me do that. I just wish it wasn't such a terrible glare here. Okay, so I'm going to put in square root, parenthesis, negative 6 minus negative 7 squared, typing it straight in, plus, sometimes I forget that plus when I'm rushing, parenthesis 6 minus negative 4 squared. So I'm typing this straight in. When I do, I get 10 point. If it says round to the nearest tenth, I'm just going to keep that 10. Because that 0, I will not move up because it's a 4 behind it. So I'm just going to say 10.0. Okay, or you can just write 10 for that one. So this one I want rounded to the nearest tenth. Just simply plug it in all at once and chug. Next group, find the distance between each pair of points. I want radical answers for these. So I'm going to let's look at number 12. So distance is the square root, 1 minus negative 1 squared, plus negative 2 minus 0 squared. If somebody wants a radical answer, that means type in just what's underneath the square root. So I'm going to type that in, see if I can get so you can see both maybe. Here we go. I'm going to not do the square root. 1 minus negative 1 squared plus negative 2 minus 0 squared, and I get 8. So the distance is the square root of 8, which if I type that in, it would be a disgusting number. So I'm going to break it down into 4 and 2. 2 and 2. I'm going to marry those two and say the exact distance is 2 root 2 for number 12. So for 1 to 8, plug the whole thing in, write the decimal. For 9 through 12, just put what's underneath the square root. Find out what that is. If you take the square root in, it's pretty great. Otherwise, break it down. Flipping it over on the back. Next one, they want the distance. You can use the formula, but in number 16, someone said to you, how long is that? If you ever see a horizontal or a vertical line, simply count. 1, 2, 3. I mean, you could use the distance formula, but all horizontal and vertical lines, you can just count. Let's look at 15. 15, you have two choices. You could use the distance formula using the endpoints, and this one looks like negative 2, 1, and 1, negative 3. You could substitute that into your distance formula. I'll do that. Negative 2 minus 1 squared plus 1 minus negative 3 squared. Type that in. Or you could make a right triangle and do Pythagorean theorem. Either way would be fine, because that's where the distance formula comes from. This side is 3 blocks long. This one's 4. You could do Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. These two together give you 25. So c is 5. So you may either use the distance formula, which you would need the endpoints, or you could use Pythagorean theorem by creating a right triangle.